What up, y'all? Welcome back to another episode of Flex Friday. And today we're going to walk you through step by step how to do a back tuck, how to do a backflip. And the reason we're doing this is because there's a lot of truly terrible information on the internet about how to learn a back tuck from people who can barely do a back tuck themselves. And so we're gonna fix that with this video by teaching you the technically correct gymnastics way to learn a back tuck. All right, before we get into exactly how to do a back tuck, I wanna show you what not to do, because when I go on the internet and search for videos on YouTube in terms of how do I do a back tuck, how do I do a backflip, when you type that into Google or YouTube, you're gonna get a lot of people telling you to do a tuck jump as a drill. Watch this. That's what people tell you to do. Stupid, bad, terrible, wrong in every single way. The reason why is because if you do a back tuck correctly, what's gonna happen is your hips will go over your head. So if you do that jump and you're initiating rotation from your hips, you're not going to land back on your feet. In fact, in order to land back on your feet like that, you have to actually lean forward, which is called counter rotation, because we're getting our knees up, which is good, but in order to not flip backwards, we're having to bring our chest down, offsetting the rotation, counter rotating, so that we can not land on our backs or on our heads. So it's a terrible drill because it teaches you to do exactly the wrong thing. Notice the difference between these two. Completely different. All right, so step number one in learning a back tuck is you have to be able to do a backwards roll, otherwise known as a backwards somersault, on the ground. If you can understand this movement and what biomechanically you're doing during the movement, all you have to do is jump in the air and do exactly the same thing. But the movement and the mechanics are exactly the same. So we have our beautiful model here, and she's going to do a back somersault. A couple things to note: start in a squat position. Go ahead and show us the squat. Yep. So you're gonna start in a squat, and then give me your backward roll hands. These are called pizza hands. You have a pizza in this arm. You have a pizza in this hand. The goal is to smush your pizzas on the ground. I know, sacrilegious, I know, but we're gonna smush our pizzas on the ground. Second thing that we wanna do is make sure that we look at our belly button the entire time. So right here, put your head up again. So what happens is, watch this. See how her back is flat? There's a straight line from her hips to her shoulders. Your eyes, remember this, your eyes control your head, and your head controls the chest and the back. So if I'm looking down at my belly button, then my chin is down and my back is round. Show them. Chin down and your back is more round. This is still flat. Can you make it more round for me? Thank you very much. There we go. Very good. Okay, so that's what a backward roll looks like. I want one more. This time, I want you to land with your feet right by your hands. So on that one, you notice how she landed with her feet back here and her hands in front of her. I want you to land like this, almost so that you have to fall back. So you're gonna scoot your feet up under your body towards your hands. Ready? Smash your pizzas, look at your belly button. Okay. Close. I need more. I need more. So in order to get that more, what you're gonna have to do is use your abs to pull, your lower abs, to pull your knees. It's really not even your knees, it's your pelvis, right? You have to tuck your hips under like this at the end of the backward roll. Let's try one more time. Uno más. Uno más. I want you to land with your feet next to your hands so that you roll backwards out of the back roll. Backward roll, flop on your back because you have so much extra rotation. Here's an example of being able to tuck your hips under at the very end so that you land with your feet close to your hands. So what's happening there is at the very, very end, I'm using my abs to pull my pelvis forward like that. So it's not just knees. People say knees to chest. That's incorrect. If you do knees to chest, it's just this. But my hips stayed in the same spot. All I did was bend my knee. What I need to do is get my hips up and over my shoulders to generate rotation. In order to do that, I need to move my pelvis. It's tuck it under, so forward and around. Like that. Okay, so after you've learned your backward somersault, you've got your chin to your chest, you've got that nice round back position, you've got your hips tucked under, you squished your pizzas, everything's beautiful. Now we need to learn how to get some height, because remember, if all you do is jump and do that backward somersault motion in the air, then you've got yourself a back tuck. But we gotta jump, we gotta get the height. So what we're gonna do is find a mat. You can get a squishy one like this, you can get a panel mat, you can get all sorts of different things. And what I want you to do is just practice jumping without leaning forward. So you're gonna jump and go back just a little bit like this. All right? The key here is full extension, because what you'll see a lot of people do when they first learn a backflip is they get really scared and they throw their shoulders and head back in an attempt to rotate fast. So instead of having a nice, tall, straight line, they end up doing this because they're scared, or they don't commit all the way and they go like that, and they stop it way too early. So to prevent either of those from happening, you have to jump to a tight, straight position, right? Your arms will swing down as you bend your knees. So this is like a loaded spring. Arms back, knees down, right? From here, everything explodes at the same time. Knees straighten, arms go up. When they get to your ears, they stop. They don't keep going. They hit a wall, and you go up. Now, if you want to really get good, you start practicing that without ever bending your legs. This will force you to get a good arm swing. So what I'm going to do is elevate up onto the mat with nothing, but I'll do two things. The first one is just the swing of my arms, so the momentum of throwing my arms up and stopping, and the push through my toes. So when you jump, you should be pointing your toes like that. So you're extending through the floor with your ankles. So just those two things, no knee bend whatsoever. See it? If you get really good, I don't know if I can do it on a mat this big. We're gonna try. Then you keep your feet flat, you don't extend through your toes, and you just do it with the arm swing. See how much power you can generate just from that. Straight legs, no push through the toes. Here we go. I pushed the toes a little bit, I cheated, don't worry about it. But that is how you develop a good jump. Come over here, come over here. Come on. Once we have that, we have to practice jumping and getting into that backward somersault position. So it's the exact same straight jump. When we get off the ground, not before, when we get off the ground, we begin to go into that backward somersault motion by squeezing our abs and tucking our pelvis up and under, up and under. This is very high. Don't start with it this high, but it would look something like this. Okay. The trick here is you want to land upside down. That's the sign that you did it right, is you want to land on the top of your back right here. What you don't want is this. That's not rotation. That's just jumping back. Not it. The mat's doing the work, and then once you got up there, then you went. You want to land already rotated in that somersault position. Bad example because this mat's high. One more time. I'm gonna push back a lot. There we go. That was better. So you can kind of already imagine that if you're able to do that, that's half of a backflip, and all you have to do is go from directly upside down to around your feet, which is truly just finishing the backward somersault. So what we would do is exactly that. Jump to your somersault position, squeeze your abs, squish your pizzas, and just keep going. Watch this. Right? Starting to look like a backflip. I've been doing this too long, so I did like that, because that's what you're trained to do. Don't worry about it. It's the extra step you don't need to worry about. Here and go. Ready? Just like that. So, if you get really fancy, you have what we call a cheese wedge mat. It's an angled mat like that. We don't need one. It's a whole lot of work. They don't need that. They understand. We're on the same page here. You get a cheese mat, which is a mat that has a downward slope to it. replace this guy with that, probably with a squishy mat on top of it, just in case. Do the same thing, it'll help you roll back down, right? From there, you wanna do exactly the same thing. You wanna do it into a foam pit. If you don't have a foam pit, get somebody to spot you. If you don't have somebody to spot you, and when I say somebody to spot you, I don't mean your friend who went to like ninja camp when he was 12 and he thinks that he can throw you over so that you won't die. Horrible idea, you're both gonna get hurt. Find somebody who is a cheer or gymnastics coach who knows what they're doing and have them spot you correctly, or try it into a foam pit like this. If you can't do either of those, Godspeed to you, try it on a trampoline. It's the best I got. But the key here is doing exactly the same thing. You don't want to change anything. So what happens to most people is when they know that there's not something back here to catch them, they start to overcompensate and do way too much, and they do something like this. Right? Bad. Because you changed everything that you just learned over there. And so, that is why we try and do around a 5-to-1 drill to skill ratio. So what that means is, every one time that you try it into a pit or with a spot or on a trampoline, you're gonna come back over here and do 5 of those drills, because this is going to reiterate the correct body position, muscle memory, etc. What happens is if you get overly eager, you try and rush the process, come over here, you do 100 horrible back tucks, and your body and your muscle memory starts to compute, oh, this is what we're learning how to do. Your brain does not know the difference between good and bad when it comes to acrobatics. It just knows that it gets better at what it does frequently. And so if you do bad things frequently, you get better at doing things bad. It becomes easier for you to do, and then it becomes a hard habit to break. So 5 of these for every one of these, and eventually you'll get one of these. That's how you learn back tuck.